Hello and welcome to Wait, It Gets Better, the improvisational storytelling podcast. We are a couple of guys who try our best to tell you a story every single week. I am, of course, Levi.
I'm Reed.
And I'm Seth.
And we are here to recap Music Makes Magic. Bong bong.
So my question is, which of the two of us are the couple of guys, and which one is not one of the couple of guys?
That crossed my mind, but
Are you saying because it sounds like I'm saying that somebody's a couple?
No, that couple.
No, a couple is two.
Yeah, we're a few guys.
So we'd be a few guys.
All right, should we scrap this episode and start over?
Unless one of us wants to be the guest.
No, I think
the
that's
super
pretty
guest.
funny.
All right. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Wait, It Gets Better, where me and a few guys, did I say me originally or no?
No, you just had a couple. Like
Guys,
you
listen.
and a couple of guys.
Listen,
would be
guys,
good.
I think I'm running at about 30 hours of sleep for
one day?
the week. It's not good.
I don't get very much sleep in a day. I normally do 30 hours a day.
So I had AI write us a little short piece using the base elements and some description about them. Do you guys want to hear it before we give our ratings and begin our discussion?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Sure.
All right, this is called The Discovery of the Music Magic System. In the waning days of the old world, as hurricanes tore through continents and magnetic pole shifts turned compasses into gibberish, Dr. Arela Voss worked fervently in her makeshift lab beneath Harmony's hold. The city trembled, its spires cracking under the weight of a reality that no longer obeyed its own laws. Seas rose without tides, and the sky pulsed with unnatural auras. Elora, a physicist with a penchant for patterns, had spent years chasing the cause of the world's unraveling. Her instruments, cobbled from salvaged tech, hummed with erratic data, but no answers. It was late, the air thick with ozone from a storm that refused to break. Elora, exhausted, slumped at her desk, surrounded by graphs of magnetic anomalies and climate models. Her old radio, a relic from better days, cracked with static. On a whim, she tuned in, catching a faint broadcast, a street musician's violin lament, looping from some forgotten signal tower. The notes were mournful, sharp, and strangely vivid. As the melody filled the room, Elara's monitors flickered. A graph spiked, showing a localized stabilization in the magnetic field, a fleeting moment where reality's chaos paused. Her heart raced. She replayed the broadcast, focusing her mind on the music's cadence, willing it to hold the pattern. The monitors responded. The field stabilized again, stronger, as if the music were stitching reality together. Elora's scientific rigor warned with the impossible. She was altering the world with intent, channeling through sound. She grabbed a guitar from the lab's corner, a gift from a colleague long gone, and strummed a tentative chord. Picturing the lab's cracked walls whole, the plaster shimmered, knitting itself smooth. Music and intent, she muttered. Scribbling notes, she tested further, humming a childhood lullaby while envisioning a glass of water. Droplets condensed from the air, filling the cup. The implication hit her like a shockwave. Music, infused with will, could bend reality's frayed threads. But it wasn't stable. Her clumsy strums caused the floor to ripple, and a discordant note sparked a flame that singed her notes. Elara reported her discovery to the Rockstar King, who ruled Harmony's hold with charisma and an iron will. He grasped the potential instantly, his own voice a booming instrument. Together, they refined the system, his anthems stabilizing the city, while Elara documented its limits. Emotional resonance amplified the music, but doubt or dissonance could unravel it. The king's performances became rituals, holding back the chaos, as Elara spread the word of the magic system. That night, as the king sang to a desperate crowd, Elara watched reality solidify around them, the storms quieting for the first time in years. She knew this was only the beginning. The system's true power lay in those who could master it. There it is. What do you guys think?
That's kind of fun.
It definitely departs from Seth's. Are you not impressed, Seth?
Not
Okay, well then,
particularly. It's
okay,
comical. I'll
okay.
give it that it's
Well, then
comical.
next time you write the short story. The only reason I have AI doing it is because I don't have any time. So if any of our listeners, or if you, Reed or Seth, want to write it, you guys are more than welcome to. Where does it depart from your thoughts the worst, Seth?
I guess, like, I don't know. It just like there's so many little like subtle additional like twists in the way that it puts it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we saw that in the first one we had the AI right. There was some really kind of interesting additions that it added in, but I think it's kind of funny and interesting because it's not the story we wrote. It's just what AI thinks the story we wrote was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, that it basically wrote up what ultimately was the prequel,
Right.
and not the thing that we did. But
yeah, I asked it to write me a story, a short snippet from one part of the story, and that's what it wrote. So I suppose I could have asked it to write something else, but I didn't. Anyways, let's get back to the story that we made. Reed, what was your rating?
I rated it a 5, and that was too generous on one hand and a little bit harsh on the other hand. I think that I really like the setup, the prequel, the first week, um, the introduction of the storyline with the things breaking down and chaos in the environmental system, and I was pleased that I just the government type kind of fit into, well, what would happen in a crisis situation, and that just made sense. So I was happy with that, the way that worked. And then the magic system, this idea of the stories and the music framing reality, and giving the scientists a way to break to break the storm and whatnot. Um, but I felt like we fell short pulling it together in the next 2 weeks. It was cool. You know, I didn't participate. I wasn't entirely following the way it went, so I have a hard time judging, how we did when I don't feel like I did very much at all. So there you go.
What part specifically? Just the second week?
Yeah, and I didn't. You guys were going kind of carrying the story, and I wasn't carrying my end, is what I meant, for the second and third weeks. That's how it felt to me. I just kept not catching up with what you were doing. That's kind of a Debbie Downer. Sorry about that.
Seth, what about you? What do you think?
I think as well, I'd probably put it somewhere on the 5. I know we brought up like Six String Samurai several times.
Yeah.
As kind of like a feel to it. I'd put it kind of in the range of something like that. Something that's kind of like quirky, interesting enough, so long as it was kind of, weirdly like lighthearted and not like too important.
I'd walk
like
out of
Six String Samurai.
I'd walk out of a movie theater and I'd say, "Well, that was fun."
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd make a great movie.
Something that has like some interesting back ideas to it. Something that's like not particularly realistic, but also like where you could have people running around like almost like you said, like some kind of like rock ballad where everything. It's like I'm almost imagining like Mad Max, the rock ballad or something now.
Right.
Where
exactly.
it's like playing all these like whimsical music about how great they are. They're like hype themselves up, and it kind of helps. And or like sometime like, and they're like someone's fighting, and they've got like the Sir Robin's minstrels like sitting there playing their little ukulele, talking about how great the person is as they're getting the crap beat out of them. And then like I don't know, it's just like, if it's kind of, in my mind, I think that if it was kind of handled, if it like all was done up and was somehow be able to be handled in more of a whimsical, lighthearted way, I think that would be in my opinion, the most serious way to take it.
Yeah.
I thought of the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when he gets his crew together, and then they decide, they get the vision that they gotta go in search of the Holy Grail. So then they kind of fan out and they go out on their individual quests, and Sir Robin has his little troop of minstrels going along singing about brave Sir Robin. And then they sing about him when he's
He was not at all afraid to be mashed into a pulp, or to have his eyes gouged out and his elbows broken. And he's like, have his kneecap split and his body burned away. Oh, brave, 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 brave Sir Robin. Anyway, that's enough music for now, lads.
Okay.
What were your guys' sort of inspirations for this one?
So yeah, my inspiration kind of came from like the idea of 'cause I think like the more lore in Lord of the Rings where they sing the world into existence, they sing to the trees and they become alive, like the Ents and that kind of thing. Because I just watched that with the kids, and that's kind of where part of it came from as far as my original inspiration for part of the idea. But then again, kind of pulling from Monty Python a little bit, Six String Samurai, Death Clock. There was that one that you mentioned that kind of the way the story turned towards the end, had that same idea. I can't remember what the name is called, but it's that, where the lady's kind of writing the story and that guy realizes that his life is being written for him.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of it's a Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. It's actually getting an 8 from me. It's called Stranger Than Fiction. I thought it was really good. I agree with you guys about how it was whimsical. And I thought that we kind of accomplished that. Even at the end, we didn't have like a sad ending. We kind of like forgot about the villain totally. He wasn't like a big part of the conflict resolution. I feel like more of the conflict resolution was the band that traveled with your wild card character, Seth. It was the band that traveled with her kind of realizing that she was kind of creating reality, and so I thought it was really good.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I was saving it for this, but I would almost guarantee that we've used the what do you call it? The triplets. That like one is blind, one is mute, and one is
Colorblind.
blind.
Yeah, colorblind, blind, and mute.
Blind, mute, and deaf. And then they can kind of like aid each other through like the kind of like triplet connection and part of the magic. So I know we've used it before.
Have we? That's awesome.
I don't remember which episode, but I guarantee you it's in one of the other episodes.
There's enough of them out there. I imagine that's the case.
So I thought of that when you brought it up or whatever, but I was going to save it for now to say I think that quite nearly the same setup has been in another one of the episodes. But at this point, some 300 and some episodes?
Yeah, something around there. Let's see here. I'm going to do an honorable mention to the quartet members and the unique vehicle because sometimes we do this, folks. We come up with really good ideas and we talk about them and then they just never get really as part of the story at all. I feel like that was part of the reason of this one being kind of feeling like it fell a little bit flat, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Is that who was the villain's sidekick, the reoccurring character, the quartet member, and the unique vehicle? And the unique weapon, none of them were used.
Yeah, basically.
So like we had a really good idea with the prequel, the government type, the magic system, and the wild card, but then we didn't use anything else.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why you guys feel like it sort of fell down.
Yeah, I felt like I was struggling to figure out how to bend some of that stuff in, and I just in the last episode I never really came up with a good solution. So that was why I said that I felt like I kind of was feeling like I had dropped the ball because that was where I was trying to think about that and I didn't come up with a solution, so I didn't interject.
I think it's something to be aware of because I know it happens all the time where one or two or sometimes it's quite often that several of them kind of go by the wayside as some other aspect is taking precedent.
Yeah, I mean, it's the writing. That's the creative process. I'm totally fine with it happening. I'm just pointing out that there was so much that we did not use that maybe we were burning too many calories trying to come up with new ways for things to happen where we could have just used the some of the ones we already had. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I have come up with dozens of excellent ideas that have just been not used. And I'm not blaming anyone for it, but it's just, it's just kind of how it works sometimes. Well, you guys got any other thoughts on this story? Any other ideas you want to talk about? Anything else interesting about this?
Not right off the top of my head.
I'm good.
All right. I guess I'll draw for next week then. Reed, can I get a number between 1 and 13? 1 and 11?
10.
Levi has Pantheon. Seth, number between 1 and 10?
4.
Reed has Beginning Scene. Seth, you have History.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this week. We will see you guys next week. Bye.